All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're putting on our detective hats. Why? Because your body is constantly sending out these secret clues about your health, and we are going to learn how to crack the code. So let me just ask you this. How well do you really know your body? And I'm not just talking about how you feel on the surface day to day. I mean, what's actually happening deep down inside? In the engine room that's powering your every move? That's what we're here to figure out. Okay, so the central mystery we're solving today is something called metabolic health. It's basically your body's engine room, how well it takes the food you eat and turns it into fuel, all while keeping crucial things like your blood sugar and hormones in perfect balance. And trust me, when this engine is running smoothly, it's one of your best defenses against a ton of chronic diseases. To get to the bottom of this, here's our game plan. First, we'll make sure we really understand the mystery. Then, our investigation is going to open 3 key case files. We'll dig up clues hidden in your blood, we'll decode your body's invisible messengers, and we'll analyze evidence that goes way beyond the bathroom scale. And then, at the end, we'll put it all together to crack the case. And it turns out, across all of these different case files, there are 7 key clues. We call them biomarkers, that we really need to be tracking. These 7 markers are the keys that will unlock the full story of your health. So you ready? Let's open that first file. Case file number 1, what's hidden in your blood? Now this is where some of the most critical, most revealing, and honestly most often overlooked evidence about our health is just flowing through us every single second of every day. Inside this file, we're on the hunt for 3 main pieces of evidence: your blood glucose, your insulin levels, and what's called your lipid profile. Let's take them one by one. So our first clue is glucose. It's your body's main source of fuel. To see how you're handling it, we look at 2 things. First, there's fasting blood glucose. Think of that as a snapshot, a single photo of this exact moment. But then there's HbA1c. Now that's like the security footage from the last 3 months. It tells the long-term story of your average blood sugar. Now, if glucose is the fuel, then insulin is the key that lets that fuel into your cells. But here's the thing. What if the locks on your cells start getting a little rusty and sticky? That's what we call insulin resistance. We can find out how hard that key has to work to open the door by checking your fasting insulin and using a calculation called HOMA-IR. And our final clue from the blood is the lipid profile. Think of it like this. A standard panel, it just counts all the cars. That's your cholesterol and triglycerides on the highway. But an advanced profile, that looks at the type of cars. Specifically, markers like ApoB tell us the number of potentially dangerous particles, which gives us a much more precise picture of your cardiovascular risk. Let's move on. We're now opening case file number 2, the invisible messengers. These are the biochemical signals, kind of like text messages, that are constantly directing traffic inside your body. Inside our bodies, there's this constant tug of war happening. On one side, you've got HSCRP, a marker for hidden low-grade inflammation. We'll call it the fire starter. And on the other side, you have vitamin D, which acts as a peacemaker, helping to regulate and control that inflammation. We really need to know where that balance is. The other invisible messengers are your hormones. They're basically your body's board of directors. And we need to check on the whole team. The thyroid, which sets your metabolic pace, your adrenal and sex hormones, which manage stress and other stuff, their transport protein, SHBG, which is kind of like their dedicated chauffeur, and even growth factors like IGF-1. The crucial thing here is, if just one of these directors is out of sync, the entire system can be thrown off balance. Okay, on to our final file, and it's a big one. Case file number 3, more than just the scale. This is all about analyzing the physical evidence of your health. This clue is so critical. The number you see on the scale, it only tells you your total mass. It doesn't tell you what you're actually made of. Body composition analysis, though, that tells the real story. It separates your weight into things like muscle, body fat, and most importantly, that dangerous visceral fat that's hidden around your organs. This is infinitely more revealing than weight alone. And our final 2 clues, they measure your body's performance and its resilience. VO2 max tells us how good your engine is at using oxygen during exercise. That's a key sign of fitness. And heart rate variability, or HRV, shows how ready your body is to handle stress. Think of them as a readiness report for whatever life throws at you. So we've gathered all 7 clues from our 3 case files. Now it's time for the most important step, putting them all together, connecting the dots to crack the case and finally reveal your overall health picture. See, here's the thing. No single clue tells the whole story. A good glucose number is fantastic, but not if your inflammation is through the roof. The real power, the real insight, comes from looking at these biomarkers together. That's how you get the most complete health information possible. So, why does being a health detective really matter? Because it moves you from the reactive seat to the proactive one. Instead of waiting around for problems, you can actually plan for long-term wellness. You can have way smarter conversations with your doctor, and ultimately, you can improve not just your lifespan, but your health span, how well you live. We've laid out the map. We've identified the 7 crucial clues. The power to understand your body's story is right there, just waiting for you. So the only question left is this. Now that you have the clues, what will your next health discovery be?